Parenting is the hardest job, and there is not a close second. Raising high-performing teen athletes or performers? That's a high-stakes job. I'm Nate Crandall, joined by fellow certified high-performance coach Steve Galley. We coach ambitious parents like you, and also your high-performing teens, because when you both level up, connection and results don't just improve, they multiply. Welcome to the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast. We have some burning questions for you. Coach Galley, here's a question for you. Your teen gets coaching, mindset training, guidance to help them perform and be their best. But what about you?
You pointed the finger at me.
I did point the finger at you. It's a collective finger. It's at the masses.
Yes.
We do it for our teens. Do we do it for us?
That makes me think of another question. As parents, do we somehow graduate from needing coaching?
That's a great question. So I don't think we ever do. I don't think we ever graduate from needing that. I almost think that the opposite of that is true. I think the demands of raising a high-performing teen almost increase our need to get coaching.
You're really making me think. Actually, I've thought about this a lot. You know, I've thought about this a lot.
I absolutely do. That's why I love asking you these questions, because I
Nate,
know
I've asked this question of a lot of high school coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked them, think about growing up and playing sports and being involved in competitive activities, and how you've always had coaches, whether it's a voice coach, a basketball coach, it could even be somebody that's helping you with your mental game. And you do this as a young person growing up. And then when we become adults, you stop being coached.
Yeah.
Maybe you learn, you have mentors, you have colleagues, you study, but I'm talking the kind of coaching we do, high performance coaching, really getting into the mental game. How come it stops? I have not asked that question of one coach where they just immediately have a coherent answer.
Yeah. We lose intention. It
catches them off guard a bit, and they have to think about it. And the most common answer is, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why we stop getting coaching.
I think it's because we lose intention. We get focused on helping our kids grow, but we stop getting intentional and designing for our growth. Because we know that teens can rise to their full potential when they have a strong mindset, and coaching helps them to get there. Like and that's why we do it. That's why we have coaching for kids, and we seek coaching out for the kids, because we know it gets them to a better mindset. It does the same for parents.
For sure. I mean, parents want the connection.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to influence their teens. But you mentioned there's this tension. In some cases, it becomes silence, which is not always a bad thing. But in this case, a lack of communication is not good. Teens will burn out. We hear kids all the time that they get burnt out. And one of the reasons for that is this really poor parent-child, parent-teen connection. And this is a real missed opportunity for parental growth. And yet, if parents were to work on their game, we like to say this, it becomes a multiplier. And,
absolutely.
And the teen's performance is going to improve. So I would say, Nate, that if the parents aren't growing, if they aren't working on their game, this is a total missed opportunity.
Well, if the parents aren't working, here's how this ends up. If the parents aren't working on growing, those one-sided conversations where you sit there in an uncomfortable silence, those become the norm, and it doesn't get better. There's stress around performance. It doesn't improve. There's goals that end up creating distance instead of bringing people together, and that doesn't get better.
So what's the flip side of that?
Well, if you get if you get the coaching and you work on doing those, think about, I mean, how great would it be to be able to have a beneficial conversation where you feel authentic connection and you're able to bridge those gaps, and now you're listening to your teen about their goals and what's important to them instead of them just playing the game where they tell you what they think you want to hear. Like, you fix that, man. But we need help. We need coaching to help get to that point as parents.
Well, this is something that we have definitely seen over our decades of coaching. I know for me, 32 plus years in the school system, high school basketball coach, head coach, coaching my own sons. Boy, that was a trip. That was a real learning experience. But one thing that I'm going to use the same verb twice, I think, in the same sentence, Nate. We'll
let you get away with it.
One thing that has somewhat crushed me is watching players get crushed under the weight of unrealistic and what I would even refer to as team destroying expectations from the parent side. And then we stand around with our hands up and say, it's too bad. So-and-so didn't reach her potential. Johnny, he never fulfilled his potential. This team could have done so much better. And I believe that a lot of that can be changed if parents are working on their game, as well as those kids and players that are working on the court, on the field, on the stage.
Yeah, we talk a lot about controlling the controllables, and that takes effort. That takes working on you to get to the point where you're comfortable dealing with what you can control. And parents need coaching to help them focus on what they can control. Because my experience with this, I watched my son grow up. He ended up playing golf in college. Like you, I've been in the public education system for a long time. I was also a basketball coach at high school, and just seeing players underperform and struggle emotionally because they don't have a definition of success, of their own definition of success. And so now they just get lost trying to tell their parents what they want to hear, or do what they think somebody else wants, or do what they think is necessary to get the scholarship because that's what they've always been told to do. And not being able to create their own definition of success really haunts a lot of these kids and causes them to struggle emotionally.
I love helping parents deal with this problem and help them eliminate this pain. You and I both get a great amount of satisfaction and joy out of coaching parents, coaching adults. And I love the fact that we together have created this mindset sequence. And this is the culmination of our, 50 plus years, all of the mistakes, all of the scars, hours in the classroom in our sports psychology classes, and client after client, teen after teen. And we call it the Prime Your Mind Coaching Intensive. I would say this is not just another training, because this is so highly customized for parents of teenage athletes. And by the way, parents, we customize it specifically for teens as well. So they go hand in hand. And I love this sequence. And we start with a really powerful concept. I know with clients that I've had, Nate, it has actually surprised them that we started with this concept.
Well, and this is why people miss growth, because they actually miss this concept because it's so easy to walk right by, because it's almost too obvious. But where we start with the teens when we do our Prime the Mind intensive, and we start with parents when we work with them, is we start with this concept that all progress starts with a truth. It's just radical honesty. It's being super honest. And that's actually the foundation that we can grow from. If you're not honest with yourself, if you're not honest about what's going on, you cannot grow.
What I love about this is you immediately begin to discover blind spots. I've never, ever had one client yet who has not discovered a major blind spot in this first session.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's when we are willing to look and do a 360-degree scan. We find the blind spots, but that's where we find the opportunities to grow. That's where you find the clue that gets your conversations with your teens from being gloriously one-sided, where there's uncomfortable silence from them, to connection, where there's sharing and you get to listen to what they really want and what's important to them. But it's the blind spots we all have that stop us from getting there. And you have to get honest to find those.
Absolutely. And this is where a really powerful shift begins, where parents can start moving from parenting to coaching. If you've listened to our podcast over the last 2 years, we've produced a weekly podcast that's titled the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast. And when this happens, we start seeing less conflict between parent and teen athlete and more connection, as you were describing. So I would put this statement and question to parents, Nate. Your teen needs coaching. In most cases, your teen wants coaching. If they want to excel, they want to get better. Shouldn't you get coaching too, as a parent of a high-achieving, high-performing athlete?
Steve, that's a wonderful question, and I hope our parents have heard some of our thoughts on that. It makes all the difference in the world when a parent is willing to receive some coaching for themselves on how they can show up better, how they can find those blind spots and shine some light on them, how they can listen to their teen better, how they can connect with their teen in a more authentic way. All of those things lead to accelerated growth for your teen because you're showing the way. Because as the parent, when you get that coaching, you accelerate your growth. And guess what? It's like wakeboarding. It's like hopping in that boat and your teen's on the board behind, and they have a way better, way more fun, way more exciting experience when you're driving the boat fast.
Ooh, I like that. It's still summer. Let's get out on the lake and drive that boat.
For sure.
Yes. Well, we would like to offer parents who are watching this an opportunity to get a taste of the Prime Your Mind Coaching Intensive. And Nate, I'm very excited to announce to our parent listeners that on Monday, September 22nd at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we'll be doing a LinkedIn Live, 100% free, complimentary, and we are going to give them a taste of our honesty session, the first foundational session of our Prime Your Mind Coaching Intensive. And we would like to invite high-achieving, high-performing parents of high-achieving and high-performing teen athletes to come join us. It will be totally normal and totally fun. All you have to do is look in the comments or look in this post, and you will see the link to this LinkedIn Live. Go ahead and sign up. Once again, 100% complimentary. We look forward to meeting you there and getting radically honest.
Nate Crandall and Steve Gallagher would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you love what you're experiencing and learning from the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, please like, comment, and or leave a glowing review of this episode and the show. And to further help Nate and Steve expand their reach and impact thousands of parents, athletes, and performers, please share the show and subscribe to the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast channel on YouTube. And if you want to explore further to see what Nate and Steve are creating to help parents of athletes and performers everywhere, please visit their website at createtransformbecome.com. That's createtransformbecome, all one word, .com. There you will find a growing number of tools and resources to help you elevate your parenting. Thanks again for tuning in. Now go create a magical relationship with your athlete or performer.